Hi, now we're going to start with pronouns, and I want you to look at your textbook and notice I made a mistake when I wrote this textbook because I left off one of the objectives. So if you could write in on your textbook to choose pronouns that agree in number and person, that would help. That way we can stay on top of things. All right, so the objectives that I have for you for this lesson are to match the vocabulary words to the correct definition. What that means is on the test, when you're going to have a quiz at the end of this unit, just like you did with the prepositions, is you're going to match this column with the definitions in this column. So you will have a piece of blank paper or a piece of paper, the quiz, and it's going to say personal pronouns. And then over here, there's going to be all of these definitions right here are going to be all mixed up. And you have to know that personal pronouns, and I've left off the word personal pronouns, but you have to know that a pronoun designating the person speaking, the person spoken to, or the person spoken about is the definition for personal pronouns. So that's how your test is going to be. And usually your objectives pretty much tell you what's going to be on the test. So you also need to have a textbook. You need to have internet connection so you can watch the videos. You need something to write with. You need some paper so that you can do and you don't necessarily have to have paper, but you do want a 3x5 index card, enough to write. So you want to take the index card, and on the front of it, you want to write personal pronouns. Then on the back of it, you turn it over and you write this definition. And then every day when you come to class, you practice seeing if you can memorize these definitions, and then you'll get a 100% on your quiz. And then you can move on and you don't have to keep doing all the exercises. Because the way this works is mastery. You have to get an 80% on 2 lessons and an 80% on a quiz. And when you get that, then you move on to the next lesson. Okay, let's go over the rest of the objectives. Identify a pronoun within a given sentence, be able to identify the type of pronoun used in a given sentence. So you're going to have to, first of all, identify pronouns, just that, okay, this word is a pronoun. Then you have to say this word is a pronoun and this is the type of pronoun it is. And then you need to make sure that your pronouns agree in person and number. That means if the pronoun is singular, then it agrees with the antecedent. So in other words, and I see this all the time and it is so wrong, but it says, hey, Judy joined Facebook. Would you like to be their friend? Well, Judy is singular and there is plural. Those do not agree. But we live in a new world that doesn't follow grammatical structure exactly. But that is an example of pronouns not agreeing in person and number. And we'll talk about that later. All right, let's look at the bird's eye view of pronouns. You need to be able to read, and you need to be able to identify words from a list. A pronoun can go anywhere in a sentence, the beginning, middle, and end. And I'll tell you right now, I don't know if it just an FYI, a pronoun can be a subject, a direct object, an indirect object, a predicate nominative, or an object of a preposition. And I say all that not for you to know that, but I want you to hear those words because in our next book, we're going to delve deeper into that. Okay, why do I need to be able to identify a pronoun? Well, the reason is because they take the place of a noun. And nouns act as the 5 things I just listed. And we're going to be doing a lot of grammatical analysis. And the reason is because you need to know grammar and able to write well. And if you don't know grammar, then your writing is not going to be as excellent as it could be if you did. So that's the reason. And we need to make sure that our pronouns agree with their antecedents and their verbs. That's important because if you don't, then people are going to think that you're not very smart. All right, so here we have our vocabulary, and I already explained to you, you need to put these on note cards. So we have personal pronouns, first, second, third person. We have demonstrative pronouns, this, that, these, and those. Interrogative pronouns. Those are the ones that ask questions. Interrogate means to ask questions. If you get arrested and you go to or maybe not even arrested. If you have to go down to the police station and they interrogate you, that means they ask you a lot of questions. We have indefinite pronouns, and we'll cover those. There's quite a list of those. Possessive pronouns, the ones that just show it's, is that his shirt? Is that her shirt? And reflexive and intensive pronouns are pronouns that have the word self, S-E-L-F, or selves, S-E-L-V-E-S. That's, they reflect the person who realizes the action, or it emphasizes other ones. Kevin himself bought the old car. Man, I left off a lot of periods in this book. Okay, how do you learn this lesson? You learn this lesson by familiarizing yourself with the list, because like I said, pronouns they're not making up new ones. They make up new nouns and verbs all the time. But like when I was growing up, we never even heard of emailing. That was not that. So that's a new word in my lifetime. It also tells you how old I am, doesn't it? But the pronouns we're not making up new pronouns. They have come from a list. So you don't go out and say, oh, I think I'm going to make a new pronoun today, and I'm going to say whatever, because there's just a set list of them. So you need to just memorize the list. So here we have pronoun type, first person, second person, third person. Come down here, and here is pronoun type, personal. And here's the first person personal, second person personal, third person personal. I want you to look at, I'm going to make this bigger so you can see this. I really want you to see, because this makes it so much easier. Second person is the word you, your, yours, and yourself. All of them have, let me see if I can highlight this. All of them have the word you in it. That's it. It's a form of the word you. And that's the only second person we have in English, in the English language right now. Now, maybe there used to be more, but not anymore. So that helps you be able to figure that out. Okay, let's keep going. All right, this talks about agreement, and it says pronouns must agree with their antecedents in person and number and gender. So agreeing in number, this means if the antecedent is referring to one person or thing, the pronoun must be singular. If the antecedent is referring to two or more persons or thing, the pronoun must be plural. So if I write a sentence, Judy, let me think, Judy, what pronouns would you normally use to refer to Judy? Judy's a female, so we'd usually say her or she. But I've seen it where Judy wants to be your friend. Do you want to be their friend? So if Judy is a single, Judy is one person and she's female, and there, the word there is plural. That means it's more than one. These do not agree. And we need to make sure that they agree. And I know there's some political reasons why people are writing that way. But I want you to learn the grammar rules the correct way. So we would correct this sentence. Judy wants to be your friend. Do you want to be her friend? Now it's correct. So I know that there's a lot of political things out there about people wanting to be called different pronouns and that sort of thing. And yes, that is the way it is. But however, we do have grammar rules, and these are the grammar rules, and we don't usually break them. And if you want to change your pronouns and all that sort of thing, I'm not against that. I just want you to know that when you're writing, okay, and I'm teaching you grammar specifically for the purpose of writing, you need to make sure that you're pronouns agree in person and number. That's the grammar rule. And that's just the way it is. So let's go on. Agreeing in person. Pronoun agreement is like pointing at someone or a group of people. Pronouns refer to people in either first person, second person, or third person. If you refer to yourself, you would say I or me or mine. I, me, my, mine. If you were talking about second person, we talked about that earlier, it's always a form of the word you. And then third person is somebody else not including yourself. So third person singular would be he, her. Third person plural would be they, them. So let's look at our little example here. Bobby called to say he was flying home on Monday. So Bobby is the antecedent and he is the pronoun. So we have to make sure that Bobby and he agree in person, number, and gender. So Bobby is how many? He's one, and it's male. So we use a male pronoun to make sure that it agrees. That's how that works. All right, let's look at, I'll make another video for the personal pronoun exercise. Why don't you go ahead and see if you can figure out how this works, and I'll see you in just a minute.